Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Renegade Operative here, and I am doing my first impressions of the Sony press conference of E3 2015. And man, this was probably one of the best events of E3 2015. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to explain why, because practically everyone in the internet, with some naysayers here or there, are in unison about this. The main theme correlating to all this is dreams happening. Dreams happening with games that probably were never going to see the light of day to some gamers. Dreams happening with games that have been announced, but devs found it either strenuous or hard to bring these games into the light, and they questioned the very nature, the very existence of projects of this magnitude that fans have been asking for years, and finally delivering every step of the way. Last Guardian. This was a game that was probably suspected to never see the light of day. Last Guardian was supposed to come out on the PS3, I believe, a couple of years back. They had a trailer for it at an E3 event. I think it was E3 2013. Don't quote me on this because I don't specifically remember which E3 it was, but I know it was a while back. They showed it on the PS3. It looked absolutely stunning, gorgeous. The Team Ico team makes these sporadically beautiful games, and Last Guardian was no exception. So a lot of people were looking forward to that. I'm a Shadow of the Colossus fan, so I was personally looking forward to seeing that game coming to fruition. Then a year comes past, all these events roll past, and there's no Last Guardian. It's a no-show at every single event. A lot of people thought it was canceled. A lot of people figured that the dream was dead in the water, vaporware. Even after Sony debunked those claims of the trademark supposedly not being renewed, there was still not a lick of information about Last Guardian to be seen anywhere. Not until Sony E3 2015. They finally revealed Last Guardian is coming to the PlayStation 4. It looks fantastic as usual. It looks like there's a big dynamic, there's a big focus between you and this creature that's following you, and you use it to try to get you out of tight situations. But I did like the fact that the little kid that you have to control also had to get the creature out of a tight situation. So it's sort of this tandem mechanic where it's life or death and you have to save each other and work together. I am honestly hoping this factors into boss fights, and it creates some dynamic puzzles very reminiscent of Shadow of the Colossus. Last Guardian 2016, let's get it. Next up was Horizon Zero Dawn. This is a new IP by Guerrilla Games of Killzone first-person shooter infamy, and seeing this from Killzone to this? Bruh. If you did a compare and contrast session from Killzone to Horizon Zero Dawn, you would shit a Tiffany cufflink at how dramatically different these two are. To summarize, it looks like the entirety of civilization has fallen, and also what is grown and new is the rise of the machines. So it looks like the last of humanity is out trying to assure their survival against these giant mechs that you see in the gameplay demo. There's just a huge variety of them, different sizes, different shapes, different looks to them, different ways of how they communicate and interact. There was actually some stealth segments in there where the teenage girl that you play with, she was hiding in the bushes, and one of the robots, spotted her, and as he tried to call for help, she easily dismantled him to stop him from calling in reinforcements. Very cool stuff here, built on the conventions of what we already have seen before, and of course, it's plays from a third-person perspective, so it has some third-person elements like the weapon wheel, slowing down time, and the fact that they had some quick-time events in there where you can dismantle the machines inch by inch. Only one word can be summed up to explain this new IP from Guerrilla Games, and that is impressive. I definitely want to see more. I certainly thought they were going to pump out another Killzone, another generic Shadowfall, but this time they didn't. They're really stepping their game up, and I gotta give them a round of applause for that. The next two titles here I'm gonna blitz through because they didn't show that much gameplay for Hitman, but they did reveal that there was gonna be some extra content available on the PS4. Love some Hitman, can't wait to get into it. Hopefully they show a gameplay presentation pretty soon actually. It was just a CGI trailer here. And for Street Fighter V, they are having the beta come sometime in July. I think it's early July they're having the beta come, and they reveal Cammy and Birdie. And they showed more at the Capcom event. Birdie looks pretty strong. A lot of people are going to be pissed though. They got rid of his charged character status. And Cammy looks kind of beast. I can't wait until I get my hands on the game sometime when I play the beta. Hopefully all the characters are available through there. And yeah, that's all my excitement for those two. So next up, they showed a little bit of No Man's Sky. And I think I've seen a little bit too much of it, to be honest. Of course, it's not anything that wows me superbly. I heard some great things about it, about how to discover every planet in the game. It'll take you like eons to discover that. Always good when a game has an enormous amount of replay value, even though with the amount they're giving, it seems almost impossible to complete it all. I think they needed to get on the ball with releasing this instead of just constantly showing it over and over and over. We've seen some new elements like the ecosystem. That all looks pretty great. But No Man's Sky, I'll give it a try. But I'm not feeling super excited about it because we saw it at E3 last year. Then we have this crazy new game called Dreams, developed by Media Molecule. And if you don't know who those guys are, maybe you want to check your little Big Planet boxes in the back. And it appears as if you can craft anything to your making. You can make your dreams have little teddy bears, killer teddy bears, just squashing zombies with like a hammer. They showed a presentation where they were crafting a man's face, and it looked pretty bizarre, to be honest, and weird. But that's the premise of the game, is to try to make dreams come true. I know Shia LaBeouf was probably watching that game and giving the developers all the thumbs up he could afford. But that's what it's all about. Make your dreams come true. And it could either be disturbing in the hands of people, because we all seen what people do with creative content, where they'll make dicks out of anything. So yeah, gonna be looking forward to that. A person's face crafted out of a dick as a nightmare instead of a dream. So fuck all you perverts for ruining my day. Let's move on to the next thing, which is Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Don't care. Let's move on to Destiny, the Taken King DLC. Don't care. I'm sure that's great for the people who actually are invested into both of those games, but I feel Assassin's Creed is just a beaten horse at this rate, and I feel that Destiny didn't catch me on the hook while it had the chance, and I'll leave it at that. Now, for us, particularly us RPG fans, this was a timeless moment. This was where the earth stood still. This was where our fanboyism was set to be released into the atmosphere, ensuring complete global masturbation. We have a new chibi Final Fantasy game. World of Final Fantasy. I'm sure girls and girlfriends are gonna love these chocobos looking so tiny and small and cute. Wow, we were expecting a huge announcement. It was almost as disappointing as Square Enix announcing Final Fantasy VII to come, and we thought it was a remake, and it was just a PC port of the original coming to PS4. It seems that our enthusiasm has died again, slowly. Well, don't get me wrong. Maybe this is just some filler for a much welcoming appetizer. What? What the fuck? Final Fantasy VII remade for the PS4. This is what I mean by dreams coming true. A Final Fantasy remake was teased for years actually. There was a tech demo created in 2005 just showing off the graphical capabilities of Final Fantasy VII on the PS3. This led many gamers to speculate that this indeed was going to confirm that a remake of Final Fantasy VII was in the works, but the devs shot that down. They just said that it was a tech demo, nothing else should come of it, and that should be that. And then, ever since then, Square Enix kept teasing the idea of a Final Fantasy remake. They kept trying to invigorate interest to revisit the world of Midgar, but I feel it was something about the Final Fantasy VII remake where Square Enix just never really followed up on any of those ideas or conceptions for the remake, coming up with possibilities and what ifs. But it seems like all of that speculation, all of that waiting, it finally ends today, and I could not be any more ecstatic about it. This will be exclusive on the PS4 as a timed exclusive. So Sony definitely got their hands on this fast, and I couldn't be any more happier about it. But that's not all. If you thought Final Fantasy VII and The Last Guardian was enough of a heart attack for you, then I guess Kano must have rang your doorbell and performed the coup de grace when you saw Yu Suzuki come on the fucking stage and talk about the Shenmue III Kickstarter. This is a game 14 years in the making. Massive hype. Mind blown. My brain was all over the place. I couldn't believe it. This is something I could not believe happened, but it did right in front of me on a stream, and it is honestly awe-inspiring. I didn't think we would see another Shenmue sequel after the second game because it's been so long, and if you know the history of these games, you would know that the Shenmue series was originally planned to be a trilogy. So, seeing the cutoff point at 2 was rather jarring for some fans, and Yu Suzuki said himself, people have been asking me for so many years when Shenmue 3 was gonna come. And once again, dreams come true. This opportunity is finally here. As I'm speaking right now, it's almost up to $3 million on Kickstarter. So the initial goal was like $2 million. So it's already funded. It's coming out on PC and PS4. The tentative date for Shenmue 3 is going to be December 2017. Long ways off from here. Exactly the same with Bloodstained. I think that's coming in 2017, but again, the wait is worth it. This is so worth it. It's swelling up the excitement. The first one I think I missed was Firewatch. It was some guy out in the woods being Tim the Two-Man Teller and chopping down trees, and he's greeted by some woman on a walkie-talkie, and she tells him there's some guy in his tower, and he gets all into murder mode, and there's not really much shown. There's a extensive amount of dialogue between you and this lady though, so I figure that's gonna play a large part into the story, but it's not a lot of substance there in terms of that trailer. I don't even know what it's about, to be honest. Any casual person that would honestly ask you a question and be like, what is this about? You probably couldn't tell them. Because it's not much of a description behind it. Just some dude invades your tower and you probably gotta go kill him. They had some sort of Star Wars game, Disney Infinity Star Wars or whatever. I honestly don't care about that. Moving on to the next one. So they showed a new trailer for Batman Arkham Knight, and the game is coming out sometime next week. I honestly might wait for a Game of the Year edition because I think it's kind of bullcrappy that Season Pass has the mission where you can play with Batgirl, and it's like a prequel that adds to the story, and you know they're going to make Red Hood playable. That's not going to be a GameStop exclusive for very long if they make a Game of the Year edition, so I'm just going to wait for that one because that's what I did with other Batman games. But moving on, they showed the Joker's body being cremated. Of course, if you haven't played Arkham City, the Joker died due to a Titan overdose, I believe, and he didn't take the antidote and he died. But afterwards, they showed the body getting cremated. There were some rumors going around saying that the Joker was going to come back in this game. I saw some doctored images, possibly. of the Joker being in Arkham Knight, but it looks like they confirmed he's dead. And then all of a sudden, a police officer entered like a cafe or something, and then everything just starts wigging out to shit. And I think there was some scarecrow fear toxin shit going on. They did confirm that Arkham Knight is going to have PS4 exclusive content with Scarecrow missions, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is what they're showing. Like, it's just a personal hell with Scarecrow fear toxin and you gotta try to survive or something. So, we already seen Arkham Knight a lot at this point. I feel the same way about it as No Man's Sky. It's like, I've seen a lot of it to the point where I just want to get my hands on the game and play it, and I know the game is coming out next week. Again, I might wait for the Game of the Year edition, but maybe I'll budge, who knows. We're going to move on to the last thing I saw. I think we're going to skip over the VR thing. Good the VR is there, good that stuff is there, but we're going to skip to the last blow done to Microsoft. So everyone was wondering what was the deal with Microsoft and COD. They didn't show Call of Duty this year at the Microsoft press event, which led some people to scratch their heads. They always get COD every year. They always get the DLC first. I'm not much of a COD fan, but I can honestly say that was weird that they didn't show that all first at their presser. But here is Sony with Call of Duty Black Ops 3 on the stage. That was just a blow, a big blow. Microsoft really got effectively swept under the rug as soon as that presenter said COD is now the home of PlayStation. And I almost forgot the last thing displayed and the show ender was Uncharted, or rather Nathan Drake standing around for almost an hour doing absolutely nothing. Hilarity aside, Uncharted 4 A Thief's End was the last thing presented by Naughty Dog, of course. This demo was definitely a lot more entertaining than last year. Last year just had that reveal trailer, while this year they had a lot more gameplay to present, a lot more meat on the bones that way. It was Drake in this small little city looking for God knows what, because the only exposition we have is Drake is looking for his younger sibling, and not much else is revealed about their plans, so they're obviously keeping the story details tucked away. And eventually things go crazy. It's like these army of guys are looking for him, and a giant shootout just erupts in the city, and you can see things like the particle effects going apeshit with stuff flying around, explosions everywhere, carnage, mass chaos, you name it. It was rather glorious to see. And then all of a sudden, Drake and Sully hop in the back of this Jeep, and you get introduced to something new. Uncharted confirmed. But seriously, you get in the back of this Jeep, and there's a car chasing segment where you're trying to outrun a tank. And it looks very gorgeous. Like I said, the particles and physics and destruction in this new Uncharted, along with the very, very, very detailed graphics. It's all great stuff, all great fun. The stuff you come to expect from the Uncharted games, just pure unadulterated action and adventure. And this chase goes on for a while, and then it culminates to Drake letting Sully take the wheel and using his new grapple hook technique to latch on to the side of a truck that's on a bridge in order to catch up with his brother Sam, because the cartel is chasing him. So he latches onto this truck and he's just flying around all over the place. He's a fucking monkey man. And then he just crashes into something on the side of the bridge and the trailer cuts off for Uncharted. It was good. They showed off just enough to whet the appetites until the next trailer. To me, the main thing about this Uncharted is how everything is just looking absolutely refined. The gunplay refined, the new acrobatics with the grappling hook and how you can incorporate that into the combat refined, the melee system refined. I actually saw Drake uppercut someone into some wooden shit, and that kind of brought a smile on my face. And the set pieces just look more larger than life than ever before. So Uncharted 4, Thieves End, definitely looking forward to that as well for a 2016 release. I gotta say, Sony had the best conference this year. I have to give them an A. They earned that A. It's just they gave me games that I want, and even when I was bored looking at stuff, they never failed to keep it entertaining, unlike some of the other press conferences that were either just mediocre, okay, decent, kind of good, or flat out boring. Sony kept me awake on this ride the entire time, and I gotta give them their well-deserved A for this press event, that well-deserved letter grade. So, this is Renegade Operative, signing off. I hope you guys enjoyed this slew of videos. I hope you guys enjoyed the stuff. I will be talking about more pressers. I'll be covering all the ones I've seen at least, so you'll be seeing that coming in the next few days. Once again, peace.